What's up, guys? The trick of the week this week is the Cheat 720 hook. Today, I'll be going over a progression for learning this trick, teaching you guys the terminology and technique behind it, as well as giving you guys 5 important tips to throw a better, cleaner Cheat 720. And I'm gonna end by sharing with you 3 awesome Cheat 7 variations. So we have a lot to cover, and with that said, let's get started. The first step in the progression to learning the Cheat 720 is a firm understanding of the hook kick. When you do a Cheat 7, the hook kick is the kick you're throwing at the very end of the trick. And if you have a sloppy, uncontrolled hook kick while you're on the ground, that's gonna translate up the progression chain to be a bad hook kick when you throw the Cheat 720. So before you move forward with this progression, make sure you have a firm understanding of the hook kick itself. The second step in our progression is to understand the step over hook. The step over hook is just like a hook kick, but to do it, you throw your leg up like you're going to do a roundhouse kick. But before you hit your target, you step over, turn your head to spot your target, and then you execute a hook kick, sweeping across your target. The step over hook helps you train the landing of the Cheat 720. If you can have a clean, controlled, and balanced hook coming out of your step over hook, it will be far easier to then progress up and do the Cheat 720. If you've never practiced the landing to a trick before, it'll be hard to learn it. But by doing the step over hook, you can perfectly train the landing of the Cheat 720. The third trick in our progression is the tornado kick. The tornado kick is essential for teaching you the cheat setup. When you do the Cheat 720, you start with the cheat setup. You begin in a neutral or backside stance. You step 1 foot forward, and then you rotate about 180 degrees before jumping up into the air. The rotation that you do on the ground is why the cheat setup is called the cheat setup, because you're not actually doing 720 degrees of rotation when you do the Cheat 7. You do about half the rotation on the ground, and then you jump to finish the skill. So when you do and progress towards the Cheat 720, make sure you're investing time into mastering and understanding your tornado kick, so that way you can have a good, strong cheat setup when moving into the 720. The fourth step in our progression to learning the Cheat 720 is the Cheat 360 twist. To do this, it's really easy. You do your cheat setup, and then once you spot your target, you just jump up to spin 360 degrees. Like I mentioned earlier, when you do the Cheat 720, you're not actually rotating 720 degrees after you leave the ground. To do this trick, you only do about a 360 rotation. So to get you guys ready to do that twist, I strongly recommend you train the Cheat 360 twist. It's fun, it's easy, and if you do it enough times, it will be far easier to progress to the Cheat 720. The fifth step in our progression is to do the Cheat 720 crescent. You see, when you do the Cheat 7, there are 2 different kicks you can perform. You can do a crescent kick going inside to outside, drawing like a big arc across your target, or you could do a hook kick, going one side to the other to sweep across it. When doing the Cheat 720, it's far easier to first learn with the crescent kick. And if you understand the difference between the crescent and the hook kick, you can slowly transition your Cheat 720 crescent into a nice and strong Cheat 720 hook. And it's just in the kick you perform. To do this trick, like I said, it's not that hard. You do your cheat setup, you rotate 360 degrees in the air, and then you throw just like a baby little crescent kick. And then slowly but surely, you can progress that trick into the trick you want. Going from maybe a sloppy Cheat 720 crescent with a little bit of a weird kick to a nice, strong Cheat 720 hook that sweeps right across your target. If you can understand the Cheat 720 crescent and transition it to the Cheat 720 hook, that is one of the best ways to learn this trick. Next, I want to go over the technique behind the Cheat 720 in extreme detail, and also talk to you guys a little bit about this trick's terminology. To do the Cheat 720 hook, it's not that complicated. You start in a backside stance or a neutral stance, and you perform your cheat setup. Once you're done your cheat setup, you're going to jump into the air and rotate about 360 degrees. You're going to be spotting your target and then rotating all the way back around to spot it again. And once you spot your target, you can execute your kick, either the inside out crescent that I talked about earlier, or the hook kick. Whether you're doing a hook kick or a crescent kick, it doesn't really matter. The technique is pretty much the same. Now, when it comes to the terminology behind the Cheat 7, you'll hear it called a bunch of different names. Sometimes people will call it a Cheat 360 hook, a Cheat 540 crescent, a tsunami. I've heard all of the names in the book. If I personally were to name this trick, I would call it a Cheat 360 hook or crescent, depending on what kick they're doing. Because you do your cheat setup, you rotate about 360 degrees and then you kick your target. That said, I do like the mainstream name, and often when I'm talking to someone else, I'll refer to the Cheat 720 as just the Cheat 720. It's an easy way to just talk about the trick, and that's why mainstream terminology kind of got started, just as a way for different athletes to communicate with one another. Now, there are definitely limits, so you always have to be cognizant when learning a new trick that the name of the trick might not have anything to do with the trick itself. Next, I want to give you guys 5 tips to help you throw a better and cleaner Cheat 720. And my first tip is to refine your technique. What I mean by that is when you do a Cheat 720, or when you do any trick, there are a ton of choices in deciding your technique. For example, with the Cheat 720, you could double pump or single pump. What I mean by that is when you double pump, you throw up your first chamber knee, and then you throw up the second like you would do a roundhouse kick. You just don't perform the kick. Or you could just do a single pump where you pump the initial knee for the cheat and you just leave it up there the entire time as you twist. Not only that, but you could get into a discussion of flexed feet versus pointed toes, crescent kick versus hook kick, and all the other variations. When you're doing your Cheat 720, it will really help to refine the technique so that way you know exactly what you're doing when you're performing the trick. If you can have a good mental visualization before you do the Cheat 720, that is a great way to refine your technique and make sure it is crisp and clear. Tip number 2 is to find martial intent within your kick. If you do your Cheat 7 and you just flop your leg like a dead fish, it's not gonna look like a good kick. You need to have some martial intent and make that kick look like it could actually strike a target or just hurt somebody. If you kick with good technique and with some martial ideology, it will be far easier and it will look far better. Tip number 3 is to use your arms. When you do the Cheat 720, you need to not only use your legs to perform the kick, but you need to use your arms to help control your twist. When you do the initial cheat setup, your arms should be wide and rotating horizontally to generate twisting momentum. Then, once you leave the ground, you pull your arms in to help you twist faster. And finally, after you spot your target, you open them up to slow your twist so that way you can perform a good, solid kick. One of the best ways to improve your Cheat 720 is to just really understand that kick and that timing. And one of the best things to do is to just make sure you're controlling your arms so that way you can control the speed of your twist. Tip number 4 is to spot your target. Whenever you're performing any trick and kick, you want your eyes to be locked on your target so that way your body can know where to kick. Where your eyes look, your body tends to follow. So if your eyes are locked onto whatever you're trying to kick, you're far more likely to kick it. Not only that, but your eyes tell your body where to go, so when you lock your eyes on your target, your body will stop twisting. And if you're twisting as you're trying to perform that kick, it's not gonna look good. You really need to slow your body down by fixating on your target and opening up your arms before you perform your kick. That will help you land with far more control and you'll be way more balanced. My fifth and final tip is to use a progressive workout. If you want to train your Cheat 720, don't just train your Cheat 720. Do 20 hook kicks, 15 step over hooks, 10 tornado kicks, 5 of the Cheat 360 twist, and only then start working the Cheat 7. If you skip steps in your progression, not only will that make the goal trick look worse, but it will also be far harder to learn. If you train a progressive workout and follow every little step, you will have a far better and far cleaner Cheat 720. Finally, I want to end by showing you 3 Cheat 7 variations. In the sport of tricking, every skill builds off into a harder, more complicated version of itself. And the Cheat 7 is no exception. There are 3 Cheat 7 variations that I want to show you. The Cheat 7 double, the jackknife, and the rise hyperhook. Each of these is super neat, and they're not too terribly difficult. Our first variation is the Cheat 720 double. This variation is super easy to do. You do your normal Cheat 7, but instead of just throwing up a knee, when you do that initial cheat setup, you throw that leg up to perform a kick. Through that, you're then able to carry your momentum to perform your second kick just like the normal Cheat 7. If you have a strong cheat setup, you shouldn't have any issues doing the Cheat 720 double, because all you do is straighten out your cheat leg and try and throw a solid kick. Our second variation also includes 2 kicks, and that is the jackknife. If you have a really strong 540 and a good 720, you can put them together to throw a good jackknife. To do a jackknife, you do your cheat setup, and then you throw a massive round kick, like the highest, most floaty tornado kick you have ever seen. From there, you follow through with that kicking leg to land back on it as you turn your body to throw a massive hook kick. This trick is super famous because it involves those 2 kicks right back to back, the round kick and the hook kick. The jackknife is an awesome variation, and if you have a good 540 and a solid 720, you should be able to put them together. The third variation that I want to show you is the rise hyperhook. Just like the side swipe can be viewed as an inverted 540, the rise hyperhook is a Cheat 720 with a little bit of flipping momentum. Instead of throwing your leg like a normal cheat setup, you throw it behind you almost like you would perform a rise. From there, you twist your body around that horizontal axis until you re-spot your target. From there, you open up and you perform a massive hook kick. The rise hyperhook is not an easy trick, but if you have a good Cheat 7, a solid rise, and you understand the side swipe, you should be able to put them all together to do the rise hyperhook. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to see more educational tricking content. And if you want to go deeper with mastering tricking to learn more about this sport, become a patron. For just $1 a month or more, you guys get direct access to me along with a ton of rewards. But thank you again and have a lovely day.